And then I looked next to the deer and there's a rabbit. And the rabbit is also silent, not moving, looking at me. I'm like, happens, like Bambi, you know?
Yeah.
And then I looked next to the rabbit and there was beaver. And that's when my brain, usually when I start hallucinating, like my brain wants to be logical,
hmm
but like I still see the things, but I still have a bit of logic.
Yeah.
And that's when I just started like, hang on, like there's no beaver in France. And so that's how I kind of knew that something was wrong. It's not the fact that they were all looking at me quietly.
Welcome to the Wilderness Wavelength Podcast. We are live. This is the Wilderness Wavelength Podcast. Welcome to it. I'm George. As always, Scott Sunderwall. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thanks, George. Great to be here. Looking forward to tonight.
Oh yeah, I feel like this episode is going to inspire you to get out and get adventuring wherever you're at because well, we welcome to the show Nathalie Long. Welcome, Nathalie. Thanks for so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Nathalie is well, man, I was going through your bio today and it's just like adventure racing, ultra racing, and then you're like a course designer. So we're gonna on this episode, we're gonna get into some adventure racings. Nathalie's bringing Raid the Rockies to Hinton in July. Nathalie, how did Hinton become a pick for you for this course?
So I have been falling in love with the Rockies for the last maybe 8 years or so since I moved to BC. And I love adventure racing, and I bought a little van and was always going to the Rockies as soon as I could have like a 3 days kind of weekend or something. And I explored a lot there, made some friends, and I was thinking of bringing a race to the Rockies. And a friend told me to go see Abraham Lake, Nordegg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's how Red the Rockies. We got massive fires here in Kelowna where I live. And so I packed my van, and for 10 days I was in Nordegg trying to escape the smoke. And I just adventured around, and I guess I covered about 300K because I came up with a full course for the first Red the Rockies on that little like escape. And I really like the idea of showcasing places that have a lot of potential, like for adventurers, like people that love adventuring in the woods and in the mountains, that are not as known as like the Bend for the Canmore or the Lake Louise kind of area. So that's how it started with Nordegg and Abraham Lake. And then the people from Tourism Alberta said, hey, if you want a next place, like you should check out Grand Cache. And so I started going to Grand Cache and I scouted around, and that's how Grand Cache was the 2025 Red the Rockies. And on my way to Grand Cache, I was coming through Hinton all the time. And because I like to explore a lot, I would like scout in Grand Cache, and then on my way back, I would stop and then started like exploring around Hinton on my way home to break up like the big drive. And yeah, and then I was like, oh, Hinton's pretty cool. Like it's pretty close to the mountains too. There's a lot to do. They have some sweet mountain biking around. And so I threw in effort like the idea of like doing it in Hinton, and the race was so well received in Grand Cache this year in 2025.
Yeah.
But shortly after, I got a phone call from the mayor of Hinton saying that he would love to have the event in Hinton. I was like, it's perfect. I was trying to bring it to Hinton anyway. So yeah, so that's how we're coming to
Cool.
Hinton in July.
Can you break down what Raid the Rockies is? Like what is
Yes.
an adventure race?
So an adventure race is usually has mountain biking, paddling, and running or trekking,
Yeah.
all with map and compass. So no GPS allowed. You get a map, you get what we call a road book that's going to give you some checkpoint description. And then you're going to be looking for those checkpoints with your map. So you're just going to have like the location of those checkpoints on your map. And the checkpoint is an orienteering checkpoint. So it's just a little flag. It's a cube, white and orange, with a little punch to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so there's no flagging except for those checkpoints. And you can have sometimes like over 20K separating two checkpoints. So you would have to choose in advance like your route, how you're going to get there or things like that. The only thing that we are dictating is the mode of transportation in between.
I'm just very curious, how did you personally get into this sport? Where did it start? Where did the passion and what kept you going on this track?
So I have I feel like my history, like the way that I came into the sport is not conventional. I wasn't super active when I was younger. I was like playing tennis. And I lived in south of France and I was a smoker when I was like 15 to my 20s. Um, and I started climbing and started running really like just jogging before I left France and I moved to Australia for my studies. And in Australia, like everyone swims, run, and like bike at 5 a.m. in the morning, and no one's smoking around. So I quit smoking right away. And I think I modified that. I pushed this addiction to smoking and stuff to something else, and sport became my new addiction.
Mm.
Um, and I was still climbing there. So I met some climbers, and some of the climbers were professional triathletes, and they kind of convinced me that I wanted to try triathlons. So I learned to swim. I mean, I could doggy paddle for like 15 meters, but I wasn't the greatest. And I started like training. I bought a bike, and I started training, and I did my first my try, which is like a 200-meter swim, 2K run, I think, and 5K bike or something like that. And I was dying. I was like laying down on the beach, being like, that was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I was in my 20s, in maybe 23 or so. And then a year later, I did my first half Ironman, my only half Ironman for free. Um, and that's when I found out that I was endurant, but not super fast, but I was keeping my speed. So for a half Ironman, my time were not too bad. And I was gonna try to do a full Ironman, but swimming was just like when you're not born a swimmer, like swimming is just like anyway, so someone said, "Hey, we need a girl. We're doing an adventure race. We need a girl. It's a 2-day kind of stage race. Um, can you do it?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. What do I need to do?" It's like you need to learn to paddle and to go on like surf skis. And then you need to mountain bike. I was like, well, I guess I was on a mountain bike when I was younger. Maybe I can try this thing again. And they taught me how to paddle. And paddling, I thought that paddling was so easy compared to any sport in the world that I tried. Paddling is the only sport that I picked up really quickly.
Yeah.
So I started doing paddling races and I was doing pretty good. So I like that. I hated running. Like in adventure racing, like hiking, I could hike, like no problem, but running was just like, it was killing me. I was not a runner. I would run, but I was not a runner. So in 2009, I started doing adventure races and multi-sport races, and I kind of liked it a lot. And in 2010, I was doing my first 10 days expedition. So it's a bit quick to jump into a 10 days expedition. I would not recommend it like within a year, but that's how I started. And then since I've done maybe 21 expedition races.
Wow. Jeez. I put Scott, I see you got a question, but I just I put a poll out just to see what people like preferred with adventure racing on our Instagram there, and it came in trekking through the bush, 47%, pack rafting 40%, and then mountain bike trails 13%, which was I thought mountain biking would be a little higher on that one, but yeah, sorry, go ahead there, Scott.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So, George, that was what people wanted to do, what they
Yeah,
would feel most comfortable with.
yeah, in an adventure race, what would be their favorite part of it, sort of thing. Yeah.
That is a little surprising. Yeah. Yeah. No, I dug into the website here, the Adventure Immersion Lab, and I was shocked at how big this sport is internationally. 3,400 teams from more than 40 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. So it's gotten pretty big. 60 plus races, six regional series, Europe, Africa, South America, Asia, North America, held on five continents. So sounds like it started in 2001 and it's just been growing, growing, growing. Can you tell us a bit more about this, international appeal of the sport?
So yes, I think I can. But first, have you heard of Eco Challenge back in the days?
No, I mean, I know the old Ironman and triathlon. I mean, that's more for my generation, but
So Eco
yeah.
Challenge is like from quite a ways. I would need to look from when it was on TV, but it was super big on TV for the longest time, and then they kind of took like a big they stopped doing the Eco Challenge, and that was kind of like this expedition race style. And then they brought it back just for a year, a few years ago, and it was in Fiji, and it was called the World's Toughest Race, and it was Bear Grylls that was kind of hosting it. And so I got to go there, and that kind of gave a boost again to the expedition racing or to the adventure racing kind of thing. And we saw a boost in Canada when that came out on Amazon. But like adventure racing in Canada per se is not as big as it is everywhere else, to be honest. But the big appeal, like, so there's adventure racing and then there's expedition races. Expedition races will be like from kind of 3 days up to 10 days long, nonstop. And for me, the big appeal was I traveled the world racing. I ended up seeing parts of the world that I would have never seen if I wasn't racing. So to give you an example, I raced in Costa Rica and Ecuador. And Costa Rica, we went from south to north, east, west to east, and we covered the entire country.
Wow.
And we went to places that no tourists will ever go there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell because we got to talk to people that were looking at me like I was a witch because I was white and I was blonde, and they've never seen a blonde white woman before. And and most people barely had shoes, if they even had shoes, you know. But yeah, so it's just like to connect with like communities and places in the world that you would never see otherwise. Like, and so yeah, I kind of traveled a bit the world doing this racing, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
It sounds very exotic. I mean, in Costa Rica, you would have been in the jungle.
Mhm.
There would be
Yeah.
challenges with bugs you don't know. There's the
Yeah,
heat you contend
snakes,
with,
the
snakes.
mangrove. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the water, right? You need clean drinking water. Maybe talk us through some of those challenges of these places.
So yes, like drinking water, and it's not just in like southern countries or like it's everywhere. Like even in Australia, like we raced in Australia, and one of our teammates got really sick, just from drinking some water from a tap in a cafe that was really like remote kind of thing. So treating water is a big thing. So we have either tabs, or now they have like those flasks that have like a filter in it. So that's a big thing. You need to treat your water as you go, for sure. And I also learned that you can't really bring all your food to a race. So you learn what you can buy and not buy in certain country, and trying new food on race day is not a good idea. So like sticking to like plain stuff like bread, and when you're in China, for example, like sticking to bread and rice and things that were like pretty safe was key.
What's your like training routine look like for these races?
So that's another thing that I love with adventure racing in general is that yes, I train not every day, but like maybe 6 days a week. But it doesn't have to be as strict as when I was training for triathlon, for
Mm-hmm.
example. So I will wake up in the morning, and if I don't feel like running, I will just pick up the bike, or I will go paddling, or I will go climbing, or doing other stuff. But It's just, I think it's more of a lifestyle. I see it as more of a lifestyle than anything else. I still have like this addictive like component in me, I guess,
Yeah.
which means that if I am not active for 2 days in a row, like you won't want to be near me because I will just go insane kind of thing.
Right. Is there like
Um,
how do you choose what events you're going to do then? Like, do you have a list of ones that are that are in the future that you're planning for or training for at the moment?
well, yeah, my entire year is pretty much booked until October right now. Um, so I'm going to race in Quebec with a friend of mine, a state race. And then I'm organizing Red the Rockies. So every time that I organize a big race, I have to go place my flags. So I basically run the course before the races. Then I race direct the race, and then I go pick up the rest of the flags if I don't find enough volunteers.
Mm.
um, and then I am going with some of my friends. We're going to Worlds in Corsica this year
Oh
for
wow.
adventure racing. So that's our big race, and that will be in October, early October. So I just have like a few like training blocks planned. Like we have like a couple 36-hour training planned. We have a couple 50 to 60K run in the Rockies planned. And I have a 60K run in Golden a couple of weeks before Worlds.
I love how casually you just throw out those numbers.
Yeah.
George is preparing for what? How many Ks do you have to do, George?
Well, 25, but it's uphill both ways though, Scott.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
like
right. Uphill and barefoot in the snow. I wanted to dive back into the Hinton raid the Rockies for a moment because
Yep.
you've got the mountain biking, the trekking, pack rafting, and the rope activity. So some climbing is
So
that
we're gonna have some canyoning.
yeah, is that normal?
So
Is that kind of a new add-on?
quite often in expedition races, you will have some rope activities. So
Okay.
it can be, oh, it could be anything really. Like in Fiji, we did in Fiji we did outrigger and sup paddling
Hmm.
um and rafting, like proper rafting. I've done caving, zip lining,
Wow.
climbing, rappelling.
Yeah.
You can have pretty much anything, like a
And the
donkey ride.
canyoning, is that going to be primarily rappelling through the canyon or climbing or
Yes, it
both?
would be rappelling. Yeah,
Repelling. Yeah, probably beside some waterfalls if I know the area.
it could
And
be.
these are long days. You're racing for 9 to 16 hours a day,
Yes. So
3.5 days. Wow.
the way that I designed the course is like you have compulsory checkpoints and you have optional checkpoints, which means that a team that's pretty green can still enter the race and try to complete all the compulsory checkpoints. Some
Mhm.
teams only complete the compulsory checkpoints and still come in 16 hours in a day.
Wow.
And some teams that are more experienced, maybe like racing like full pen and grabbing all the optional and finish in 9 to 10 hours, sometimes 12.
Yeah.
And then it's 8 hours max on the last day.
And these teams are two, three, or four members. Is that correct? They can be
Yes.
co-ed. Do they typically come like? Is it normal to have a team of four, for example, and they just travel the world and they try this everywhere? Or what's sort of a typical team for an event like this?
So it's really awesome to be able to race with the same people in different races because then you get to know each other's and it's crucial when you go like for such big distance. Like when someone is suffering, you need to be able to spot that in advance, kind of thing. So to help out each other's and to see, like in this race, in Red the Rockies, we can sleep. But some of the expedition races, it's like non-stop. So we usually don't sleep more than a couple hours a night. So sleep deprivation after a few days like starts creeping in and when you sleep deprived, you can't hide anything. So like the worst of you is going to come out at one point. So you need to know how to deal with everyone's like personalities when that comes out, kind of thing. Um, But yeah, so it's ideal to know your teammates, but like for a stage race like this, like you could like have race with many people like that I race against, like that we decide to do one race together kind of thing. But yeah, for this race for Red Rockies, we actually have, it's pretty neat. We have almost as many teams of just male team, all female team, and co-ed,
Oh, cool.
which is pretty cool. Yeah, we're gonna have the three categories. So we have three teams of all female teams. All
I think
female.
this would be a fantastic spectator sport. Like I'd rather watch this than Tour de France or some sporting events. Like, has it caught on for television or
So
Sportsnet, any of that?
like I mean Amazon had the Fiji race, like the world's toughest race that was on TV. That was like 10 episodes or something. Um, but so the way, because you can have like up to 8 or 9 hours um spread in between your first and your last team in an event like Red Rockies, the best way to watch it really is online. We have a platform and you can see all the teams moving, and you can see when they make a mistake, and you can like judge them being like, oh my God, I can't believe that it's in left. Very well positioned, right? And then some teams will get lost for like 8 hours or 9 hours. We had a team that went on a walk of that for like 12 hours last year, and they never made it to one checkpoint, but they came back, they were happy. They discovered some part of the Wilmore area. I was not part of the race, but um yeah, and I think like you don't have to be competitive to enjoy expedition racing or like stage racing like this, because passing the finish line with your team is such a big accomplishment that it doesn't matter if you're first or last. Like passing that line, you get a feeling that you will never get anywhere else. Kind of
Yeah.
thing.
There is prizes for winning though, hey?
Yes. Yeah, it's a big one this year. We actually have a spot for Worlds to go to Corsica for the first co-ed team. Co-ed team of 4. They have to be, that's a thing. They have to be 4 co-ed
Yeah.
to be able to win that. But there's also $3,000 for co-ed teams to be split between first, second, and third.
So you
And
win this
then
one and then you go to the worlds. And then so I'm like curious like when you're going to the worlds, you're going against these elite teams. Is there like some big time cash prizes there too, or is it like what?
there is for the first, I believe, 10
Yeah.
10 teams. Yeah.
Are people doing this for a living then? Like just going from race to race and like you can make a living doing this?
I don't think I know any team that only does that for a living.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
It's
quitting my
not like
job yet.
not like NASCAR where you're taking home millions of dollars, right?
No.
Yeah.
There's no $1 million in adventure racing.
But I saw here in your bio that you've competed and placed in races 100 to 160 kilometers in France and the US. That's crazy long.
Oh, that's ultra running. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so curious about uh, we hear about hitting the wall when you're running
Hmm.
and the wear and tear on your body. Can walk us through some of that. What's it like? You're doing 160K. I mean, that can't be easy.
So I don't know if you remember, I said that I hated running.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
why I'm so puzzled.
You hate
So
running, you like
You hate running,
smoking.
but you did 160 kilometers.
so after a few years in Australia, a friend of mine, and it was pretty new at the time for us. A friend of mine said, "Hey, they have this 50K run in the Blue Mountains in like near Sydney. Um, do you want to go do that with me?" I was like, "Hell no! Like this sounds like hell. Like I am not running a 50K. No way." And then I moved back to Canada. I'm originally from Quebec, and I moved back in Quebec, and there was this race, Ultimate XC, that was kind of a stage race. It was a 3-day race where you were doing 67K, I think, on paddling. And then the next day was 60K running in the mountains kind of thing. Well, mountains for Quebec. And then the last day was 100 something K mountain bike. And so I did it, and I was like, oh, okay, like I guess I could do that. I mean, like I walked a lot, but I was like, oh, I guess I did a 60K. Whoo. And then I was like, maybe I should try a 50K. So I registered for one in Utah, and I still didn't really enjoy running that much, but I did the 50K and I was like, okay, yeah, like I guess with a bit of training, like it gets better. And I'm not sure what happened, why I decided to register for 120K, but it was in near my mom. My mom lives in France, south of France, and it was really near where she lived. And I used to see like the little peaks that the race was going through, like as I grew up, kind of thing, because I lived in France for 15 years. And I was like, oh, that could be cool. Maybe I would just try that and see how it goes. And I knew that I wasn't a great runner, like I wasn't super fast. And I've never really tried. Like I think for my first 120K race, I didn't run more than 35K was my longest run. And I lived in Quebec at the time. And the race was in May, which means that I didn't even run on dirt before going to the race. I was just running on snow. And I got to the race and I dealt with a lot of anxiety racing before, like having a lot of people around me like stresses me out and I can't breathe properly. And so I decided I was running with my partner at the time, and we decided to take this race not as a race, as just we're in another country, nobody knows us. I can totally be like last, nobody will know. Like if I don't post it, nobody will know. And we had a big expedition race coming up like a month later or something. And so anyway, we decided to take that easy and just as a training, as a big training, but as a training. And so we ran, and I didn't want to know. People kept on like telling me what placing I was at, like, oh, you're in 6th or 7th place or whatever. And I was like, I don't want to know, like, just shut up, like, leave me alone. And so we just kept running. And after 90K, I was dying. There was like 5,000 meters of elevation, which from someone living in Quebec, that was a lot. And after 90K, I started we were running on rocks a lot. And I was pulling. I had my pulse and I was pulling a lot. And I started having a pain in my elbows. And I said, you know what? We have this big race coming up. There's a lot of paddling. If I get injured now because of those stupid poles, like it's not worth it. How about we stop? And my partner said, okay, we can. It's getting dark. And we can't really just stop in the middle of nowhere. We have to stop at the next aid station. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's do that. And so we get to the next aid station and I see a girl. Oh, and someone had mentioned to me on the way to that aid station, hey, you're in 4th place. Not that I wanted to know, but they told me anyway.
Wow.
And they said, the girl in front of you is 30 minutes ahead. And I was like, there's no way that I'm going to catch her, kind of thing. And so the aid station was at 100K. And then we got to that aid station and she was there. And she was picking up water, like taking water.
Yeah.
And I didn't even mention that to my partner at the time. And I just filled up my water and I just went. And I didn't realize that he had sat down, opened all his bag, and because he thought we were done.
Yeah.
And so I just kept on going. And then I heard behind, and it was him like running with his poles, like trying to catch up, being like, what the hell just happened? And I said, you know what? Like, I am not going to try to go faster. I'm going to go at my pace. But if I put on in 30 minutes, if I put on like 30 minutes on her in the last 10K or so, there's not a chance that she's going to beat me. And so we caught up to her really quickly, and she was in bad shape. Like she had like survival blanket around her and stuff. I didn't say, are you okay? And when she said, yeah, I'm good, I laughed. But and then the race was on. Like at that point, I was like, fuck this, I can be sorry, I shouldn't. And then like I can be on a podium, like what the hell? So I tried to push and I finished 3rd. But I think that's because there were not that many girls racing in that race. But so that was my first long race.
And that put wind in your sails and you suddenly saw what you were capable of doing.
Well, yeah. And then I wanted to try a 100-miler, and Zion was kind of an easy 100-miler because there wasn't too much elevation. And same thing, there wasn't a massive crowd when I did it. And I also came in 3rd. Like I managed to get 3rd place in the last 20K or so. Yeah.
You talked about sort of the nerves leading up to a race, and that's totally understandable. I mean, I remember track and field from many years ago, and your heart's pounding and your palms are sweating. Do you have a ritual or a recommendation of how you deal with that? Has it gotten better? Do you have self-talk? Is there a
Mm.
psychology, or do you just sort of suffer till you start and then you're on your way?
Every start of the race, I feel the same. Like, I hate it. I hate the start of a race, like, so bad. I wish that we could just get there and it start and we go. Like, that there's
Yeah.
no like this waiting around. And as soon as like people are spread out, I start to breathe and I'm fine. But it's yeah, I don't know, it's hard.
The waiting is the worst part, hey?
It's just the
Yeah.
waiting with people around, like, or even racing with people around. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like so I trained with a buddy of mine and we did a UTMB. I don't know if you know UTMB in Europe, Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc. It's a 171K
Okay.
race that goes through France, around the Mont Blanc, France, Italy, and Switzerland. It has 10,000 meters of climbing.
Wow.
Um, and I did it 3 times. And the third time that I did it with one of my best friends. And we've run one of the Zion together, and a 50K before together as well, and UTMB. And he said, I don't understand, but like, he runs faster than me at every training that we do. He's always stronger, but as soon as comes race day, I'm blowing him away. And he said, I don't understand what's going on, but that's what happens when these people around me, like, I stress and I just try to go too fast and I just go.
Yeah. Get away
So
from
yeah.
all these people.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's impressive. I was kind of on the same thing when Scott was mentioning looking up your bio. I was just like, man, the race that you've done, and then you mentioned you did a 9.5 day
Yeah,
like
so that
adventure
was
race.
I think that was the Costa Rica one, and actually an XPD as well. So one of the race in Australia, and then the Costa Rica race was 9.5 days, and Ecuador was 8.5, I think.
Is there special like preparation you're doing for that one compared to like I mean the 120K is just like a day ultra.
Well, that's different, right? Like, I think I'm more beaten up after like UTMB. That's 171K on foot,
Yeah.
10,000 meters. That's like 38 hours of running or 39 hours of running nonstop. I'm more beaten up after than 9 day expedition race, because you get to switch discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And going on the water, like, usually it's like so good, like,
Yeah.
because your legs are resting. Quite often your legs are going to be in cold water, so it's helping a bit. And it just changed the pain, right? And you can, in your mind, you always go just one leg at a time.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I only have like a 30K bike. Well, in expedition racing is quite often like more like a 100K bike, and then, but you just have that in your mind, you know. But in the last few years, the legs have became longer and longer, in expedition races. So it's now it's not uncommon to have like a 50K trek between like 220K bike or whatever. Like, the legs are getting longer and
Yeah.
longer.
Okay, I got a would you rather question then,
Mm.
kind of related to this. So would you rather say 10 hours of bushwhacking through thick forest
Love
or
that.
10 hours of paddling like headwind in a pack raft, like going.
Oh, I've done both. Um, oh, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. It depends if my partner in the pack raft is also paddling as hard as he can or
Yeah,
not.
in the same direction you're going.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If your partner like gives up and you're the only one paddling, then I think I prefer to bushwhack.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that something too with the adventure race where like if you have a partner that's or like your teammate that's kind of slowing down or falling apart, like how do you deal with that situation?
So you always go as slow as your slowest person, right?
Yeah.
So the aim is to not let someone fall apart. It's to carry their weight or like take some weight off their back or tow them.
Yeah.
I've towed like 200-pound guy behind me because I was feeling better than them at the time, and then they will tow me on the bike later or things like that.
Right. Yeah.
So
Okay,
yeah.
Scott, what are you doing? You doing bushwhacking for 10 hours or
I
paddling?
think that I'd probably do the paddling, but both sound pretty grueling.
Like,
Yeah.
have you ever paddled where you can like barely move a k an hour or so because the wind is so strong?
Oh, yes, I have, but I'm not doing a race. I'm probably fishing and still cursing. Yeah.
It destroys your soul.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, it's very
ugh.
frustrating. And then as soon as you stop, the wind
You
blows
go backwards?
back.
Yeah.
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 No, I've been there, but again, not on a 120K race. Wow, I got so many questions the more we dig into this. Um, where to even start? So, a lot of folks are curious about the practical stuff. So, let me throw a few of those. Like, where are you sleeping? And what about toilet strategy? Like, what are you doing practically for body functions? Like, you need to sleep, you need to use a toilet,
So it
and you're
depends
way in
the
the middle of
race.
nowhere. What are you doing?
So it depends the race. Like Red Rockies, the good thing is they come back to town every night.
Okay.
So they can have like a hotel or camping, whatever they want. In an expedition race, we have those, those soul BV sack. Like they're
Yep.
like mini kind of sleeping bags, but made of like survival blanket material.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what we sleep in. And like we usually go until like someone is falling apart or someone is really like falling asleep, and we will just stop and sleep on the side of the trail or wherever we are. We obviously make choices, like if it's pouring rain, we're going to try to find somewhere to take shelter. Or if we're going up high and it's really cold, we're going to try to go down the mountain before we try to sleep. But basically, yeah, like go on the ground, go in that little bivvy, and if you have your bike, put your feet up on your bike so we get a bit of elevation, put your pack as a pillow, and snuggle with your teammates for warmth.
Yeah. So I'm a survival instructor. That's my background for many years. So I've slept with those survival blankets, and they're pretty miserable because you
Oh
start
yeah.
sweating in them.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go from super sweaty hot to really cold and shivery. So how do you deal with that? Because they're really meant more as a short-term emergency blanket, not a
Well,
comfortable.
we don't sleep for more than 2 hours. Well, in my team anyway, we usually don't sleep for more than 2 hours.
Okay.
And you're so tired at that time. Like we don't sleep the first night. Like my team, some teams have different strategy, but our team don't sleep the first night. And then we sleep about 2 hours a night after that. So you're so tired when you come to your first sleep that usually you sleep. If it's really cold, like as I said, like we actually spoon, like we will do like a full spoon
Yeah.
to keep warm. And yes, it's miserable when the alarm goes off and we need to go. But believe me, that's how I move my team really fast because I get super cold quickly. So once the
Okay.
alarm is off, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And we're moving really fast after that.
Have you ever experienced serious hypothermia or any of your teammates with
I
rain
I
or wind
did.
or?
Yeah, I did. In Oregon a few years ago, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago maybe. There was a lot more snow than they expected. We were not expecting much snow or no snow at all, and we spent 4 days in the snow.
Mm.
Um, I panic bought some Gore-Tex shoes the day before the race. And after the first leg that was on snowshoes, I put those shoes in my bike box. We left on the bike. And by the time I got back to my bike box, there was water that had gone in my bike box and frozen. So my shoes were frozen, like there was
Oh,
no.
jeez.
So I spent the next 3 days with normal sneakers in the snow, walking in the snow. And my teammate did something really nice that even my mom wouldn't do, I think. We were like hiking in the snow, and I was just complaining that my feet were hurting and everything. And we stopped and he took my sock off and he was doing like to warm up my toes. And I've been racing for like 2 or 3 days at that point, so I'm fairly sure it was pretty smelly and disgusting. And then he gave me like a fresh pair of socks, and that just made like a lot of difference for a few minutes kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
I think it was like 3 or 4 days in, we were hiking still in the snow. And I become pretty blue and teeth chattering really quickly in races. Like people know when I'm coming or when I'm around because you can just hear my teeth chattering. But I had stopped shivering and I was falling asleep and I could barely walk. I could barely walk straight. So they pulled out, like we had for this race, we had a buffy. It's kind of a survival, like kind of cube thing. It's not a tent. It's in between a tent and a tarp kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we set that up for like just an hour and a bit. And we snuggle up to try to warm me up and sleep a tiny, tiny bit. And that was just enough that I could walk out of the snow. And then we took another sleep once we were like a bit warmer out of the snow.
That's intense. Wow. Have you ever been to the place of hallucinations?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Tell us
Yeah,
about
a
it.
lot. Yeah, yeah, that a lot. Yeah. Usually for me, it's 36 hours is when it starts like hitting me. Um, so I have many stories, but one was the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc. It starts at 6 p.m. So you're awake all day and you're like jittery because your race is at 6 p.m. and you're like, oh my God. And it's one of the biggest race in the world. And the atmosphere is crazy vibrant there. So I can't really sleep during the day before that race. You start at 6 p.m. and you go for 2 nights, or most people, most human go through 2 nights to finish this race. Like only the elite will finish before the second night. And the first year that I did it, I was completely on my own. And my sister was my support crew. And she was getting worried. Like she said, like, I wasn't walking properly, like getting to the transition. And I left and I was going into that second night. And I saw on the side of the road, so I'm in south of France, well, southeast of France, in the Alps. And I saw a deer, and deer was looking at me like quiet, just staring at me on the side of the road. And I mean, like, yeah, that happens, like, I mean, it happens every day here. And then I looked next to the deer and there's a rabbit. And the rabbit is also silent, not moving, looking at me. I'm like, happens, like Bambi.
Yeah.
And then I looked next to the rabbit and there was beaver. And that's when my brain, usually when I start hallucinating, like my brain wants to be logical,
Hmm.
but like I still see the things, but I still have a bit of logic.
Yeah.
And that's when I just started like, hang on, like there's no beaver in France. And so that's how I kind of knew that something was wrong. It's not the fact that they were all looking at me quietly. So yeah, or my first hallucination ever was a pair of legs walking in jeans. And it's just like, yeah, no, that can't be. Like, and it just takes a minute, but you're like, yeah, no. And then I was like, I don't want to say anything to anyone. And then after a while, I was just like, hey, you see something ahead of us? It's like, no, what are you seeing? No, nothing.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're turning into a Disney princess out there. All the animals are coming and birds are
Oh,
landing on
yeah.
you.
I mean,
Yeah.
we had people trying like the most common thing is in a bush or in the trees, seeing signs.
Oh.
Mm.
Like when it's just the leaves, but between your like lights, the way that it looks like, it's like, oh yeah, oh, there must be a house there. I think I see
Mm.
houses,
Yeah.
or you hear people and they're just cows with the bells, or yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, sleep deprivation will do that, and of course extreme cold. Amazing.
Yeah, I
Yep.
feel like too. So when you're doing those adventure races with like that amount of sleep deprivation, then you're still like, are most of them you don't have GPS, like you're just using a map
You
and
never have
compass?
GPS. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm assuming you're getting lost half the time too.
Sometimes, yeah. If
Yeah.
you don't have a good navigator, yes, it happens.
Are you the navigator on your team or do you
I
have
will be
a
this year, which is a bit unnerving. Like, I mean, I've navigated before, and obviously I create my courses, so I know how to like read my maps and stuff. But I usually have the maps when my navigator is shattered, and and can't like function anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited to have the maps when I'm fresh, because usually when we're shattered, I'm not much better. Let's face it. Um, but yeah, like having a good navigator is key. Like, because you can be a super slow team. If you have a really good navigator, you can be passing super fast teams that are going in circles.
Yeah, for sure. Are you using duck's back paper, like making notes, or are you just going for it? Like,
So you have like for Red Rockies, they have about an hour every day with the maps and road books. So the road book is going to be description of the points they're looking or specific like rules that they have to follow.
Mm.
Um, and they have about an hour to make a plan for the day. So
okay.
you kind of like look at the contours and like and take in account like your team too. Like is your team a really fast team but not super good at climbing? Then you may want to choose a route that's a bit longer but less elevation. Or do you have a team that's like basically mountain goats and then you will just shoot like straight to the point? And then we have certain restrictions according to the parks that we are in or the lands that we're in. But some of them don't want us to bushwalk, some of them let us bushwalk. So then there may be like some zones or some restrictions, like you have to stick to trails or you can't go through private properties or you have the go ahead to go anywhere kind of thing.
I think you should join the special forces. They would hire you. Uh, do you still have all your toenails?
Yeah, now I do. I mean, I used to lose them a lot. But you know what? Like I kind of liked when they were not there. It looked better, to be honest. But now I think they just I don't know. We're just fine now. We're just like, yeah, well, that's what it is, so we're gonna stay. But
They
yeah,
grew back, so you didn't lose
yeah.
your nail
No,
beds.
no,
Okay.
no, they grow back. They take time
Yeah.
sometimes, but they grow back. And now now they don't leave me anymore.
I got a
Amazing.
I got a would you rather that I was thinking about while you're talking about, so these when you're out like doing the 36 hours at nighttime and like you're just going, would you rather have your headlamp die during like a night trek, or have your bike's brakes fail while you're going down on like a long mountain descent? No
So
headlamp
that
but
kind of
no
like
brakes.
both happened too.
Yeah.
I my headlamp stopped working, and we were actually walking in kind of a riverbed, which was horrific for me. Like I hated it. Um, and yeah, well, the brakes, yeah, kind of happened before. I think I prefer to not have the light.
Yeah.
Mm.
What do you bring, just like a bunch of batteries with you? Like I'm just like,
Yes, yeah, and like my teammates are pretty new. Like the guys that I'm going to Worlds with are fairly new, and two of them haven't done an expedition race before.
mm,
Like a non-stop race. They've done Red the Rockies, but not non-stop. And I asked them like it would be great if we all have the same lights, because having the same lights, that means that you can have one or two spare batteries. So
mm.
if one of the lights or one of the batteries is dead, we can all share the batteries that we have. But yeah, I have tons of batteries.
Any gear recommendations for races? Anything that you're like, this is a
Light
must-have
stuff.
for adventure races?
Well, a good hmm, like light stuff. Everything light.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like crazy, but a few grams here and there, a few grams here and there adds up to tons of it. And learning to pack light, meaning like to pack smart but light, is key. Because my first race, like I remember one of my teammates in the second race ever that I did, he opened my bag and he threw away like a third of my backpack.
Oh man.
He's like, you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this. And when you bunk, I'm not carrying this. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And I didn't respond to you. I didn't answer your question about the bathroom and stuff. But like, you just go in the woods. I mean,
Yeah. You'd
you
have
know,
to, right?
yeah.
And hope you don't have bad diarrhea. We've talked to people about the death race when diarrhea hits, and that can't be a good thing.
Well, no, no. Not great.
Yeah. So we have a lot of wildlife discussions on this podcast, a lot of bears, mountain lions, moose, etc. Do you have any wildlife encounters that you could share with us from your races, or do they
Yeah.
stay far away?
No, we actually don't. Well, for me, scouting, I feel like I see more wildlife sometimes because I'm alone or I'm with just one person. In Grand Cache, I saw tons of those long hair, like the mountain goats.
Yeah.
I saw tons of them. Saw tons of tracks of bears and stuff. In Hinton scouting, I saw a bear, saw moose in the park in Windsor Park.
Yep.
A bear, someone else. I can't really do it. But yeah, like we see a lot. And last year at the race, there were some bears. I'm guessing you're familiar with Grand Cache.
Yes,
They were
very. Yeah.
biking over Mount Hamel,
Hmm.
and some teams were coming from the top, and some teams were going towards the top. And I think there's a team that went, and the bear got scared, and he ran away, and then he ran away towards the other team, kind of thing. So that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Wow. So are you running with bear spray? Does somebody in your team
Yes.
have bear spray?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in the mandatory gear
Yeah.
list for them to have.
Does everybody carry it or just somebody on the team?
One per team.
Yeah.
One per team, like they can have more, but it's mandatory for them to have at least one.
Yeah, that's smart.
Mhm.
I'm also curious the wear and tear on your knees and joints. Like, has your body held up well with this, or have you had
So it's funny
back
how
problems? Or, yeah.
I had more issues when I was younger than now. And I think that's because I'm doing so much cross training now
Mm.
that it helps. Like you usually well, I'm not running on the road anymore. So running on trails versus running on road is a lot softer for your joints. But also, yeah, like by biking, like I ski tour, I cross country ski, I climb. So I'm using all the muscles, and I go to the gym sometimes too, like to do some strength training. So like having all those different exercise kind of like help stabilize like your entire body, your entire like articulations and skeleton kind of thing.
Yeah. And the psychology is very intriguing. I know the Navy SEALs have that famous quote, when you think you're done, you're only 40% done. Do you have some sort of self-talk when times get tough? Like, how do you get through that? And do you find that these races are more psychological than physical for you?
Oh yeah, it's 100% psychological. Like in anyone, like if for me, I said to because I coach as well, and I have some people that are trying to do ultras. And to me, if you can run 30K, you can run 200. Like it's the same thing. It's just in your head. Past that, like past the 35K, like it's all in your head. And going into a race, knowing that I'm gonna run 160K or running 50K, I'm gonna feel as miserable after like 40K of a 50K race that I would after 150K of a 160K race.
Hmm.
And I will feel fantastic, not for the entire 150K, but I will feel a lot better after 50K of my 160K than after the 50K of my 50K. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because mentally I know I know what it is. And I am very stubborn. My mom always said that I'm stubborn as a pig. Like once I've got an idea in my head, like there's no going back.
Hmm.
To take me out of a race, you have to take me with an ambulance. Like
Hmm.
in Ecuador, I fell, I think 2 days into the race or something like that, and I broke my wrist, like little bones there, and I dislocated it. And I got a medic to relocate it in transition, and I raced on a broken wrist for like
Oh,
5 days.
Wow.
I took a lot of painkillers, way too many. I do not recommend. But yeah, that's kind of how stubborn I am, which is not the greatest, but that's how I go through a lot of things. And also doing math, like especially if I race alone, like an ultra, I do math all day long in my head.
Really?
It's like, oh, I'm like at the 17th percent of like
Okay.
of the distance, and then I do math on like the elevation. So I'm now like at like 15% of like blah blah blah, and yeah, and until
Okay.
the end, it's like, ooh, only have like 5% race left.
So you're marking your
I like
progress the
that.
whole
Mhm.
time. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's
Well,
good.
yeah, it's just like some people don't like to know where they're at. And like when I
Yeah.
share that along the way, like, oh, we did like 20% of this. And we're like, oh, shut up, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
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 Is there some other runners in the community that like inspire you or that you follow along with from adventure racing, like maybe just even podcasters or authors or anything like that?
So the adventure racing community, especially the expedition racing community, is still fairly small. So if you go in the World Races series, you've like they're kind of a second family by now because I've
Yeah.
been racing for 16 years. And so yeah, like the top teams, like I follow them all like on social medias and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I also have like friends that are not necessarily racing, well, not necessarily adventure racing, but I really look up um to like a friend of mine, Joanna Ford. She's like from Calgary. And right now she's doing this crazy, she's done like 350K, I think 350. She did like the 200-mile divide
Oh yeah.
run. And like right now she's doing a million vert this year, a million feet of vert. I don't know if you realize how that is,
1,000,000
but
feet.
That doesn't even sound possible.
Yeah.
in a year, that's about, I did the math once again. I did the math. It's about 5,700 meters per week for the entire
Wow.
year.
Wow. Yeah,
I
that's
know.
wild.
Uh-huh.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So people like that, or my old coach Kylie Toff from also Calgary, who is an awesome skimo racer and all around like such a human. So yeah, I've got a lot of people that I kind of aspire.
Yeah. What's on your bucket list?
Well, Worlds.
Worlds? Yeah. And
Worlds is,
you're going this year?
yeah, in Corsica. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, wow. And
So
how
that's on
did
my
you go from doing these races yourself to organizing? I mean, that's a very different skill set. And when you organize a race like the one that's coming to Hinton, do you get to partake or you just have to be there orchestrating? How does that work?
So I started organizing races about 6 years ago, and I worked for an adventure company at the time, and I pitched in the idea of adventure racing, and they kind of gave me like the green flag to like organize them. And I created the first Expedition Canada. That was a 6-day race, and that was the first expedition race in Canada in a long time. Because I raced in Canada in 2011 or 2012, something like that. And then it kind of stopped. Um, and I started with a small race. And then I was like, well, I can do an expedition. I mean, I had done already like plenty of expedition races myself. So once I got to do like a 24-hour race and I kind of nailed like the timing and timing distances kind of thing, didn't lose anyone. My checkpoint placing was pretty spot on. Yeah, I just tried it and it was a success. And then I organized 3 of those and then 2 Red the Rockies since, and many like smaller races. And yeah, people like it because they usually like from the races that are racing it and like high level athletes. Um, they like, and I like it too, when I race a race that the race director is a racer, it has a completely different feel
Mm.
than if it's a non-racer organizing a race.
I bet. Yeah, that makes sense. And you said Canada participates, but is falling maybe a bit behind some of these other countries.
Mhm.
How many races like this are across the country at the moment? And
Like this year, I think we're the only race that's as long. I'm going to race another race that's 2 days stage race.
yeah,
Um, And all the other ones are a bit less. They will be like 24, 36 hours or less. And back east, it's way more popular than here, which is crazy. Like you would think
Yeah.
that in West, like people would be completely over, like all
Yeah.
over this adventure racing. But yeah, it seems that we don't have a big population interested in adventure racing or knowing about adventure racing.
Not yet, right? Maybe they just don't know what it is. And so are people coming from all across Canada? Do they come from United States? Like who do you expect to show up for this race here in July?
So we have a few US teams. We have a few, yeah, from all over Canada. A few US team, and I believe we have a team that's comprised of one Kiwi and I want to say someone from Europe
Hmm.
in it. But yeah, that's what we have. And there is an Australian girl that's part of another team, a Canadian team too.
And you must bump into people you've met before in other parts of the world, eh?
That's what I
Yeah.
was saying. It's like it's a big family, it's a big reunion, so it's really awesome to see everyone. And to answer your question before too, like for Ride the Rockies, so I have to be fit enough to kind of race my race because I have to place my checkpoints like a week before. Because I
Mhm.
also have a full-time job, so I can't. I am on the side of this. Oh, this is the side, I guess. But yeah, so I only have like a few days before the race to place all my checkpoints. So I may have one more day than the races to actually place everything and triple check or change things at the last minute if I have to, kind of thing.
Can you
Wow.
give the Hinton, anyone sign like anyone listening to this podcast that's doing the Raid the Rockies in Hinton, can you give us any like inside tips or things? I don't know, maybe things they should be practicing more of to get ready for this race in July?
So eating constantly.
Eating
If they have,
constantly. Okay.
yeah, like eating every hour. You don't want to, if you're hungry, it's too late.
Mm.
You know, you're gonna bunk. You don't want to bunk. Like as long as you like, you know, like the term hangry.
Hmm.
Like I get really hangry. Like and people usually, my teammates usually know, but they just need to like give me a brownie or something, and then I will be happy again in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just spending time outdoors, like whether it's like in bad conditions and like just time on your feet, time on your bike, time paddling, and practicing transitions. Because in any race, like a stage race, that's relatively short, because 16 hours, it's like when you change disciplines all the time, you can see in transition a good team because they have to build their bikes from the box, like, and put it back in the box when they transition.
Mm.
A good team can transition from the bike to the packraft within like 20, 25 minutes stop. If they have to take apart the bike, put it in the box, inflate the packraft, put their dry suits on, blah, blah, blah. And a team that's less experienced in transition can be there for 2 hours. So you just
Okay.
lost an
Yeah.
hour and a half
Yeah.
just trying to get organized. So knowing your gear, knowing how it fits together, knowing how to pack it in your pack. Yeah, transitioning is a big thing. And work on your navigation
Yeah.
Hmm.
because that's the big thing.
Man, this is it's inspiring. I want to get out there and just start doing everything now. Adventureimmersionlab.ca is the website. And you said on YouTube too, so you can go to Adventure Immersion Lab and you can see like the Raid the Rockies for the past couple of years. And
Yeah, every day our media team makes a little recap of the day, so you can see what it's like to race like a race like Red the Rockies every day.
yeah, I got to check that out. That sounds great. And then Instagram Adventure Immersion Lab, you could follow along there as well.
Mhm.
And then you're still taking like, does this event sell out or do you just keep taking teams or how does that work?
So we have a cap of like 80 people.
Okay.
And we still have room for about 4 teams, 4 to 5 teams top.
Okay.
4 teams if it's like 4 teams of four kind of thing. So yeah, so we're hoping to sell out this year. We don't have a local team yet, so we would love to see a local team
Ooh.
entering because you would have like some advantage, like local knowledge.
You in, Scott?
Well, you know what? Yeah, it's probably past my prime here for this, but there are
Oh, I don't think so.
there's so many people here that run the death race. We've got amazing paddlers, rock climbers. I do a little bit of everything, but I'm not quite as intense as I used to be. But George, you're still young and
Man.
spry.
So
I like the idea of it for sure.
our oldest team last year, I think the youngest one was in his 60s.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm not there yet. There you
Now,
go.
see?
Yeah. Scott, you just strap onto a big bull trout and let him just pull the pack raft up the river for you. There you go.
Yeah. I'll jump into your backpack, George, and you take me for a run.
And you can do the podcast as you go.
Oh,
There you
man.
go.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. I love it. Nathalie, thanks so much for taking the time and joining us tonight. This has
Thanks for
been,
having me.
this is inspiring. And I think it's going to get a lot of people into this too, because it's just such a cool event to be able to, more than just running and more than, you get everything. You're biking, you're trekking, you're paddling.
It's an adventure. Yeah.
Yeah. An adventure. And I think you brought it up in the podcast too, is like, it's not even just winning the race. It's just like you get across that finish line in the end, like just the, the fulfillment you get from that is, I think is amazing. So, super cool. Any idea where next year's race is going to be? Is that on the list yet or?
Well, we're going to take a year off
Okay.
for the Rockies. But the goal was to kind of rotate. So maybe we will go back to Nordic area.
Okay. Yeah.
Or we may be organizing one in BC. We don't know yet. But the goal is to have, like, next year we're going to have probably a 24-hour race, just to give ourselves like a year, like to kind of get a bit more time to race ourselves.
Yeah.
For the year, and then get ready, because I need a lot of scouting for all those races too. So I need to have the time to go and find new places, and because it's all map and compass based, like there's not two courses that will be the same. Like you won't go through the same areas twice, kind of thing.
Right. I love it. Nathalie, we want to get you back on too after you're done. Like after you go through Worlds this year, like we want to hear from you and see what that experience was like too.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
This was very inspiring, very intense. There's a lot that goes into a race like this and preparing. I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to stay connected to your adventures and hope this is a big success in Hinton. And
yeah, and we hope to see people coming out. Like the link will be out there, so they can like follow the race. They can go out and see the races go by, or they can come to the finish line when they see like those little dots coming towards the finish line.
Yeah.
Right.
That would be cool.
Very cool. We'll link your website and your social medias on our show notes page too, so you can check that out. Scott Sunderwald at Northern Rockies Bushcraft. Radically Wild in stores now. Anything else you wanted to add for this one, Scott?
No, I was out ice fishing and winter camping last weekend, so that was good.
That looked good.
Minus 30. We managed to catch our supper and cook it on the fire, and it's a good time. So get out there, folks. Winter's to be enjoyed.
Love it. Once again, Nathalie, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate this. Okay, and until next week, stay wild.
Wilderness Wavelength.